Hey, welcome back. It's Stacy B, and we are talking to Daniel Hill here on Light, Love, and Laughter today. We've been talking about EFT, and Daniel's been sharing some of his journey with EFT and the other modalities that he integrated with it to support his desire to experience more wholeness. Is that fair?
What did you say? More wellness?
More wellness, wholeness,
goodness, fabulousness,
peace, joy.
All the good,
all of those things.
Anything good with ness on the end, yes. Perfect.
And as we were leaving to go to the break, we were talking about the fact that it was gradual shifts, that it wasn't something that just, you tap on yourself for a few days and then all of a sudden everything's rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah, good.
It doesn't quite work like that.
No, it doesn't. But the majority of clients who come and see me don't have the issues that I did, and they have a lot less full-on issues. And so where I studied counselling actually 10 years ago, and where I have friends who are counsellors, and they'll say, I've got to do this thing that you're doing as well, because I think I could use this tapping with my clients at the same time. And so for lighter issues, say smaller fears, smaller issues, you get obviously greater results. With where my vibration was, with my state of health, it was really, really poor. So I'll give a metaphor. It was like I wanted to climb the mountain, but I was at the bottom of the mountain with a big rucksack on, and my health wasn't great, and someone's going, I found something. I found a tool that's going to help you climb the mountain. It's going to be so much easier than just going up there by yourself. You can change as you're going up it, but it was still a gradual process. It was still, it is kind of sold as sort of a 1-minute fix or a 5-minute fix, and you can bust through limiting beliefs quite quickly sometimes. But if somebody's really poor and sick, well, I was poor and sick, so I was both of them together. So it was a case of, yes, gradual steps, small steps, in order to create the bigger picture. Really, it was the cultivation of the now, the cultivation of beingness, the cultivation of peace, and raising my vibration. So yes, small steps, but incrementally. In fact, while you were while we just had a break, I grabbed this off my bookshelf. I know you guys can't see this, but this is called Dermot O'Connor, The Healing Code. It was a book by an Irish guy who healed himself of multiple sclerosis. Now, when I was studying back in 2006, my NLP and hypnosis and a little bit of EFT, I remember seeing this book, and it was in a national paper in this country called the Daily Mail. And it was a full-page spread, and not that I'm promoting his book, but in it he's got like a five-step plan, it calls there's 5 elements anyway, what he calls the code, and one of those elements is tapping. He actually used the TFT, which is the thought field therapy, but actually the points are exactly the same, and that you say the same things. It's just tapping on yourself. We've all got meridians, we've all got acupuncture points. They'll cut us open and they won't find them, but we use, even in the West, we use acupuncture, and it's very good for things like pain relief. We don't necessarily know how it works, but it works. Does it matter? I love that you said in your email, you were like, I don't know how it works, but I don't know how my car engine works, but I still use it.
Exactly.
Start up the engine.
As long as it gets me there.
It gets you there. Right, it gets you there. Do you need to know? Just gets you there.
Well, I know for myself, I have found EFT to be extraordinarily helpful in moments of anxiety or feeling a little fear around something, a specific situation as opposed to a broader issue. That's where you do kind of get the instant gratification.
Right, yeah.
In it, because if you're dealing with, you're feeling anxious because you're going to be giving a talk, or something along those lines, you have a job interview or something that's going to naturally create some kind of anxiety in a human being. This stuff is miraculous as far as I'm concerned.
Great. Fantastic. Keep using it.
Yeah, but the language is also important. It's not just the physical meridians and the act of tapping. I think the language and what you say to yourself, why I would recommend to anybody who is interested in it, that they at least go and have a couple of sessions with somebody who has been trained in it before they begin to try to use it on themselves.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
I think that everything's in its own time and place, and I think that if someone is drawn to go on and have sessions with either me or somebody else, then that's meant to happen. So it's if you could use it on yourself to begin with. I mean, everybody's in a different financial place, but you could use it on yourself. And you might get some results, sort of like, but if you've got the finances and you feel like you deserve a session, or you aren't getting anywhere after tapping a little bit by yourself, then going to see a practitioner is gonna help you without a shadow of a doubt. There's so many of them around. It's I just keep thinking that there's the old proverb of when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, and it's the same thing, when the client is ready, the healer will appear, or the therapist will appear, or, whatever, fill in the blank. It's the universe always provides. Right, Stacey?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I guess the point that I was making is that I feel like the value would be there if you have someone to show you how to do it when they themselves have been trained, because I find for me, with language being as important to me as it is, that the language that I use when I do it is just as important to me as the actual tapping.
That's very true. And also the act of paying and the exchange of money, so you're actually linking up unconsciously some amount of pain to continuing to hold that issue or that problem. So when I learned this, I gave it away and I did it for free, and I didn't actually have the kind of results that I get now. There's an unconscious process that occurs during that. But I still would say that use it and tap on yourself and explore the possibility, but without a shadow of a doubt, absolutely. But paying for sessions, and I certainly paid for sessions originally. And my meditation teacher actually did a tiny bit of tapping on me. I think it was all the way back in 2002. And I didn't get very far with it. And it took me another 3 years before somebody else went, I'm going to use EFT with you. And I went, oh, well, I've used that, and I didn't really get that far. But it was only through research and through immersing myself in healing and changing your vibration and spirituality that I started to realize that I'm causing all of this, that my life's poor and I'm causing it, and I don't know how that's happened, but I need to change that somehow. So it was the sessions that I paid for with the coach that I was working with were really, it was incredibly enlightening to begin with. And I had shift after shift after shift.
Well, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about EFT is because you can be anywhere from 1 to 10 on the commitment scale of wanting to be on that journey, and you will still find a degree of effectiveness. You can be the guy who's running a business and gets anxiety about standing up and talking in front of a group of people and find this to be an extraordinarily valuable tool to bringing about peace before you get up in front of the microphone. Or you can be somebody who was in the situation that you were, going, something's really not right here with my life in toto, and I want to know what that is, and I want to change that, and using this as a tool as well. So no matter where you fit on that scale, EFT is something that is valuable and beneficial.
Absolutely. Totally concur with that. I've used it with everybody, and I've used it with people who have got no money. I've used it with millionaires. I've used it with people who are really, really sick. I've used it with people who are really well. It works each and every time, but it's about shifting, and it's the small shifts, and it ultimately is shifting your vibration, because it's changing your unconscious beliefs, which is thus changing you at a cellular level. So it's there's a lot of people, like for example, Bruce Lipton. Listeners might have heard of Bruce Lipton. He wrote a book called The Biology of Belief, and he's a real advocate of EFT. But there's a number of other guys out there. I think Greg Braden pretty much acknowledges that it's a great tool to use as well.
Well, and that's the whole point of this month for me and the show, because I think some people who decide they want to get on a path consciously choose one thing, and then when that stops working, they either A, feel like they're done, B, what's the point, because this isn't working. And, over the course of the 25 years that I've been doing this stuff, I actually, for a class I did, sat down and created a spiritual toolkit in Word and wrote down the authors, the techniques, the modalities, all of the different things that I have experimented with and used over 25 years. And it was an enormous amount of things. And that, for me, is it provides on an unconscious level a degree of confidence that no matter what comes across my path, there is something in my arsenal that will support me in dealing with it, and that if there isn't, that I can find something. Because if I already have these hundreds of things in my tool chest, then obviously there are more, and I can find that. Because there's the right tool for every kind of every pothole, downed tree, speed bump that you're going to find on the road. There's a tool for it. And what may work for me might not work for you, might not work for somebody else. And that's why it's such a beautiful thing, because it's so subjective and it's such an individual art to collect your tools.
Yes.
So why don't we talk a little bit about the kinds of physical things that EFT can help with?
It would be almost better to sort of like to eliminate the things that it can't. So
Well, what are the most common then? Let's go there. What are the most common physical ailments?
I'll say sort of like things that are what are the most common. There's a lot of people who are recovering from this chronic fatigue syndrome or ME and using something along the way, and certainly there's a number of people who've recovered from ME and are now publicising themselves. And saying that this one modality, of course there were lots of things that they did on the path, but this one modality, this EFT, was the major tool in creating the shifts that they needed to shift at an unconscious level in order to become more healthy and have more energy again. I learned a long time ago with my journey. I had fibromyalgia as well, so I had chronic pains in my muscles, and I had this iritis as well, and I do attract a fair few people who've got chronic fatigue syndrome as well, so I would use it with them, and then they can go away and start tapping themselves as well. But generally, the unconscious is a canny thing. The unconscious actually wants to hold on to the problem, even though part of us wants to change and go, oh no, we don't want this problem anymore, we want to get rid of it. But the famous hypnotherapist called Dr. Milton Erickson, who coined the phrase, all problems will want solutions. So pretty much you can use it on any physical symptom that you've got. And you think, how powerful is the unconscious mind? It's really powerful. I mean, it's quite possible that we're consciously in control of just a tiny, tiny element. So really the unconscious is governing everything in our body. So if we can get that unconscious mind to work even better for us, then you can use it with virtually everything. There are videos out there which are called "Try It on Everything." I don't like the word try. Yoda said that there is no try.
Right.
There
is no try.
So if you're going to do EFT,
exactly.
If you're going to change your life and you want to use this modality, do it every day. But if you get bored of it, or you don't find that you're shifting forward enough, don't do it. Or do it for 30 seconds, or do it for a minute. But do it or do not.
Well, we're going to take another quick break, and we will continue the conversation when we come back. And we'll see you on the other side of the break.